Right, this module we're going to talk about prejudice. So we're going to really kind of look into it and see how in the world it is allowed to exist and perpetuate, right? You're going to see a lot of concepts we've talked about all term really coming together in this module. So first of all, the root, kind of the beginning of this is grouping. So we can't stereotype other groups if we haven't grouped ourselves. So we begin to group, right? And we love these groups, like we love labels. It helps us identify ourselves, it helps us belong. We love them. Okay. But it's the beginning of it. So when we begin grouping up, then that allows us to begin insulating ourselves into these groups. And when we become insulated, we make positive judgments about our group and negative judgments about the other group. Then we add to this the root part of the root cause is stereotypes. I'm going to zoom in and let you read this quote. So part of the problem with stereotypes is when we make this generalization about a group of people, and they can be positive or negative. So an example of a positive stereotype is when we say, "Oh, Asians are good at math." Well, maybe like there's some truth to that, but that is also because it is a stereotype. There's truth to all stereotypes, and they still have negative consequences, right? And so I love this quote because it's saying that, it's not that they're totally untrue. They have that nugget of truth, which is why we believe them. And they are incomplete, right? So they're stereotyping an entire group of people or an entire person based on this one label and what we think we know about that group of people. So you can see how that relates to fast thinking that we've been talking about. Our brain's just making those quick judgments, right? You can also see how stereotypes relate to confirmation bias. Oh, we stereotype a group of people, and then we start seeing confirmation bias. So my cat is currently in here running around. So let's just back away from humans and say we stereotype cats, right? So we stereotype them, and then confirmation bias, you just saw him run away. We figure out, we notice the things that confirm, oh, cats are crazy. Well, he just ran through my video. He's running around the room. He's playing with the door stopper. Like, he's doing all these things. I'm finding things to confirm what I already think I believe. We do that all the time. You can also see how representativeness heuristic would play into this, and availability heuristic. Like, we can see how those would play into this. And that can be problematic because we're making quick judgments about an entire group of people or cats, right? We're making these judgments based on limited information. All right. So now we've got an action. Everything before this was thoughts, attitudes. Now we're at the action. We're discriminating against an entire group of people based on a negative belief or attitude that's unfounded. Okay. So segregation is a good example of discrimination. Okay. Like, let's think about this just for a minute. Okay. We group based on very visible groupings, very visible identities. We make judgments about that group. We begin to turn on the groups, and then one group thinks that they're better than the other. One group thinks that they're so much different than another group that they can't even use the same bathroom, can't even drink out of the same water fountains, can't even ride on the same location in the bus. They can't mix. Got to have one on the front and one on the back. Okay. We can't wait in the same waiting room. Because of what? Like, these discriminatory behaviors are based on stereotypes, okay, and prejudices that are allowed to continue because of the system. So the structure allows these isms to continue. So we might have a structure within a business or organization, or like during segregation, literally have laws that are separating groups of people and allowing this discriminatory behavior to continue. So you can see how it's really important to stop or question those structures, which can be really hard. Because if you remember, this is the final piece of this puzzle. Remember conformity? We conform. So we literally turn around so that we don't stand out in an elevator. Now imagine fighting an entire system that's engaging in discriminatory behavior. That's going to be really difficult. Okay, so I've got these Halloween costumes here because this is a good example of when we conform. So recently we've been like, hey, you know what? like some of our Halloween costumes are kind of stereotypical, right? Like if you're wearing certain outfits from different cultures, like you're kind of stereotyping, kind of perpetuating that idea that everyone from this culture is the same. So maybe we should stop that. But we tend to conform. Why are you on Halloween costumes? Okay, why are you trying to take this away from me? This is the way we've always done it. So conformity allows this to continue. Okay, and Halloween costumes are just one thing I thought of that kind of is a good example of this, of how we have a system that allows this to continue because we still sell those costumes at the costume stores and at wherever you get your costumes. Those things still exist, right? So we're going to talk this week about how we stop this, okay? Because we have to stop conforming, which is really hard. I mean, we saw that elevator video. We have to fight the system, which is already in place and has probably been in place for years, and fight these behaviors and attitudes. Okay, so we've got a real project on our hands this week. All right, if you need me, you know where to find me between now and class.